Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. Exciting episode here for you guys. We're talking about bounce back wide receivers for fantasy football 2020. These are guys last year that had like a mediocre season, but the talent is definitely there. I'm going to get to this episode, guys. Bounce back wide receivers 2020. Let's get to it. Welcome, guys. Bounce back wide receivers for fantasy football 2020. Some wide receivers you could target that for this year could be better value and you can get for a reasonable price. Their ADP probably dropped a little bit because, again, last year they fell off the radar slightly, and that was maybe due to injury, maybe due to situations, different situations, whether it be coaching, whether it be quarterback, whatever it may be. These guys fell off last year. And then this year, they could definitely bounce back. Before I get into that, guys, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. I'm going to be here delivering amazing content for you guys outside of the box, thinking to help you guys dominate your fantasy football leagues. Also, get the 16-round draft solution below. It's really going to help you guys dominate your leagues. There is a link here below. I've got it pinned as a top comment. And more importantly, guys, this is the #1 fantasy football podcast channel. If you guys check out my Insta, you'll see it below. Biggest community for fantasy football at Fantasy Football Counselor on Insta. I genuinely want you guys to interact because unlike others, guys, I get back to you guys. I reply to as many people as I can, keeping it real. So if you leave a question, guys, I will get back. I want to make that community larger and I want everybody to be, welcome here and a part of the chat. So leave a comment below, okay? All right, so let's talk about some bounce back wide receivers. Let's start off with the first guy here. Now, last year didn't have the greatest year, but the guy I'm talking about is STEFON Diggs, okay? Finished 24th in PPR last year with 212 PPR fantasy points in 15 games. Listen, he should have a better year this year. Now he is with Josh Allen. Last year, again, 94 targets, 63 receptions, over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, my only concern is he is going to a new team. That could be a concern because we don't know the chemistry he has with Josh Allen. Now, I was reading inside information because I follow a lot of the Buffalo Bills pages. I actually follow a lot of the team pages, and I have relationships, business relationships with a lot of the team page influencers, and I get that inside information. From what I heard, and I read a quote, Josh Allen is saying that he's going to get Brown and Beasley more volume. He thinks that having Diggs is only going to help the other guy's volume. Now, for a fantasy guy, we don't want to hear that. For a Bills fan, great. You want to get Beasley and John Brown a little more involved. For me, I want to see a ton of production towards Diggs. Now, Diggs could see that double coverage again, which could open up things for Brown and Beasley. And again, the concern is that rapport that Allen already has with Beasley, because I went to training camp last year and I did see Josh Allen throw the ball quite often to Beasley there. So again, is Diggs going to be that ace receiver? We don't really know, but we do know that he could have a bounce back season based on his 24th overall PPR finish last year, which, again, I don't like the numbers, guys. I'm looking at it. 24th, we need to bring that up. So, again, for a guy like Diggs, he could definitely possibly crack the top 10. But, again, the only thorn in my side right now is Beasley and Brown. I want to see him finish ahead and on top of that 24th overall finish, get him creeping up a little bit higher. And, again, note, he had 150 targets in 2018, okay? In 2019, that dropped to 94 targets. And again, that was this team situation he was in. He was another receiver. He was a number 2 receiver. It was an arguable decision. Here, I think he's going to be #1 in Buffalo, which could bring him up. He finished top 10 in 2018. So again, he has that ceiling, and I think the talent is there. It depends on how it all unfolds in Buffalo. So that is the first bounce back wide receiver. Now, again, I want to say something about these bounce back receivers, guys. I kind of mentioned it. The ADP will be lower. So this is another reason why I want to solidify the reason for your fantasy football draft that you can wait on wide receivers, guys. You do not have to rush. You can wait on wide receivers and get these guys a little bit later and load up on those running backs early. And I'm going to talk about that in my 16-round draft solution available for pre-order. And the first launch of 16 rounds comes out May 1st, but you can get in now. If you are listening to this after May 1st, you guys can get it. The first module is out because I do release it after the draft. That's when all the details come out, and that's when the first video comes out for 16 rounds. So get it below. Second bounce back player. Listen, this guy last year finished 27th amongst wide receivers. I definitely want to see that come up. This guy was named Calvin Ridley, okay? He's on the Falcons. Hooper shipped off now. It's him and Julio Jones. They do have Gurley, who can catch the ball out of the backfield. Now, I do absolutely love Calvin Ridley for this year. The only problem is we've seen him kind of peak at that 93 target range, and I want to see that go up. 93 targets in 2019, 92 targets in 2018. We saw him hit the pinnacle of 10 touchdowns in 2018. That went down to 7 touchdowns in 2019. I think there's still a ceiling there. Again, with Hooper being shipped off, they improved the O-line. They give Matt Ryan a little bit more time to throw the ball. I think Gurley's pass protection is going to be better than the Devontae Freeman and anyone else they had there prior. I think Matt Ryan could really thrive this year, and I do believe he's going to use Calvin Ridley in the red zone. Now, we've seen year in, year out, Julio Jones is not necessarily a touchdown machine. We've seen him have like 3 touchdown years, which is really low. Now, Julio is going to get a lot of the targets. He does get a lot of the targets. I mean, he gets anywhere around 150 to 170 targets in the year. So again, if Julio gets around 150 to 170, how many is Calvin Ridley going to get? That's going to limit him a little bit. But I do love Calvin Ridley bouncing back from where he finished last year, 27th. He could finish maybe top 15, top 10. He has that upside. So he's a guy that you could probably get, and a lot of people are going to be sleeping on him. So yeah, he could be considered a fantasy football wide receiver sleeper or a fantasy football sleeper, but I do like Calvin Ridley for a bounce back season. Next guy on my list here, guys, not a big fan of him, but I cannot deny the talent. But he finished 32nd last year in PPR, only playing, what did he play last year? I think he played 12 games. So 12 games, was a little bit banged up, only 7 touchdowns, under 1,000 yards, 860 yards, not the most exciting. But the guy I'm talking about is TYREEK Hill. Listen, TYREEK is talented, but again, they've got a lot of targets there. They got Mecole Hardman, they got Travis Kelce. Pat Mahomes is going to spread the ball around. I'm assuming they're going to throw the ball a little bit more to their running backs. Washington, I believe, is there now. They've got Damian Williams. They're going to throw the ball a lot more. But again, when you're looking at the situation here, TYREEK Hill could have a good year. He had a pinnacle year back in 2018 where he had over 328 PPR points, which is number 3rd in PPR amongst wide receivers, 12 touchdowns, 137 targets. We saw his target count drop down to 89 targets, again, partly because of the injury. So again, TYREEK Hill is a guy that could definitely bounce back. Is he going to be top 10? Very possible. But again, he is definitely a guy that I think is going to slip down a little bit on the radar in regards to ADPs and the consensus rankings because he didn't have the greatest year last year. As you know, the mainstream and the way they advertise, the way they put out their rankings is they copy and paste. So he's going to fall off a little bit, but I think you can get him at a good value. Next guy I got here. I got 2 more guys here. Again, guys, make sure you smash the thumbs up. Leave a comment. Do you agree that these guys are going to bounce back? Really want to hear your opinion below. Next guy is DAVANTE Adams. Had a phenomenal 2018. 169 targets, 111 receptions, phenomenal. Now, he did have 13 touchdowns, which is amazing. Amazing year, okay, guys, that year in 2018. He dropped down, guys, to number 22 receiver amongst wide receivers in finishes. 22nd, not good, but that was because he had 12 games, because they ran the ball more. Maybe it was a coaching thing, who knows? But either way, DAVANTE Adams playing a full 16 games, if healthy, could have a phenomenal year. His touchdowns could definitely go up. Again, not happy with the 5 touchdowns, 127 targets. We need at least 150 targets. We know that he's Aaron Rodgers' top receiver. And listen, Aaron Rodgers, he's got to do it this year. He's getting all this negative criticism saying, is Aaron Rodgers done? Is he finished? Is he done? We don't know, guys. We don't know if he's going to be completely done, but we do know that there's still some ceiling left there for Aaron Rodgers. I know there's some steam left in the tank, but we don't really fully know if that he's hit his pinnacle and if he's going to bounce back. But I think he does. I have faith that Aaron Rodgers has a good season, and DAVANTE Adams is a beneficiary of that. He definitely bounces back. Again, finishing 22nd last year. No way but up for a bounce back DAVANTE Adams for 2020. Love him. And the final guy here is Mike Evans. Now listen, I'm going to talk about this briefly. I don't know what's going on. I did an impact video on Tom Brady. Check it out below. It talks about the impact of Godwin and Mike Evans. Listen, in regards to the situation, it is really suspect. He did finish, I believe, 15th in PPR amongst wide receivers last year. Again, that can only go up. This is definitely predicated on who Tom Brady targets. If he feels that Evans is his guy, he's going to be the beneficiary. He's going to get the targets. He's going to finish top 10. If he thinks Godwin's the guy, Godwin's going to finish top 10. One of these guys is going to finish top 10, whether it be Evans or Godwin. Not sure who it's going to be, but I definitely think Evans has a high ceiling this year if Brady targets him. Finishing 15th last year, he could bounce back into the top 10 if Brady targets him. Again, I did a full video on that. Check out the Impact series below. So there you have it, guys. Your bounce back players: Stefon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, Tyreek Hill, Davante Adams, and Mike Evans. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you think they're going to bounce back. And if there's anyone else I missed, I will be doing more videos. There is other bounce back players. I understand it, guys. But I want to do a quick list for you, get you guys out some content, get your brains going, your neurons and your synapses firing in your brain, get you guys going for Fantasy Football 2020. All right, guys, make sure you guys click subscribe, leave a thumbs up, stay away from the sheep and the fantasy football wide receiver consensus rankings for 2020. They will lead you astray. Think outside the box. Get the 16-round draft solution, guys. And I will see you in the next video.